Welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Esports Spring Major. I'm Fallout, joined alongside multi-champ RushieZ and multi-champion coach Ryan, as we're getting ready for what is going to be an amazing matchup between eUnited and RushieZ, the matchup we've been waiting for. Let's jump right into rosters here. You already know them. Let's breeze through them real quickly, starting with eUnited. We got none other than TJForce, Demise, Powerz, the GOAT of Gears 5, and of course the Mexican sensation Dyslexic joining this team and having such impact, really the right hand of Powerz in the slaying category, except Demise has been turning up on the flip side. For the RushieZ squad, we got DeTox, who's been playing out of his mind. We did talk a little bit about DeTox and his playmaking ability earlier. He's really risen to the occasion, no pun intended there, in Gears 5. Such a playmaker. Avexys king movement. RushieZ, the king of secret manning, Ryan's favorite word. And last but not least, the X factor for this squad, INZEM, so individually talented, who's brought so much to this team, always dominating in the damage, done, and kills categories. This squad has certainly stepped up this weekend, that's for sure. But hey, this matchup, let's jump right into the discussion here, is an interesting one. Why? Because the head-to-head stats between these two teams throughout Pro League and throughout the split are fascinating. RushieZ, walk me through it.
Yeah, these guys are pretty tight-knit. I mean, they go back and forth. I believe the overall set count is 11-9 on maps, and then 3-2 in favor of RushieZ in overall sets. So they've played each other a decent amount. And what it comes down to is in Pro League, yes, RushieZ got it over EU, but EU's beaten them multiple times in E-Days. So this is kind of like winner semis. Winner goes to winners finals. This is the battle of the North American Titans. Winner of this is where like it all comes down to. This matchup matters more than all of their previous matches, right? And it's just a hard one to call altogether. Like, I'm curious when we get to the predictions. Don't want to jump ahead, but this is a very hard match to call. Probably the hardest match so far this weekend. Undoubtedly,
yeah. I mean, 3-2 in ult in the series count. This split 11 in favor of RushieZ, by the way. 11-9 in maps overall. Obviously, also in favor of RushieZ. I mean, Ryan, anything you'd add to that?
No, I mean, this is the first time that we're seeing the sort of the battle of the heavyweights here at the major, right? We've gone through pool play, we've gone through some of the early stages. We had a good matchup between PK and Defiance, but this is the first time we're seeing two top 4 seeds go at it in bracket. This is where things start to get tight. This is where we see what these teams are truly made of this weekend. So I'm very, very excited for this one.
Yeah, you and I both. It's going to be a fun one. Let's jump to the map picks and bans here so we can start to preview what this is going to look like. And surely, after RushieZ goes up 4-1, you're going to see Vasgar Escalation banned, right, RushieZ?
Yeah, no, I mean, you would think so, but no, you have to ban training grounds, escalation. That was RushieZ's ban, and then eUnited getting rid of canals. That makes so much sense. That's one of RushieZ's, if not RushieZ's, best execution. And then on the side of RushieZ's bans, they ban Fira, and we've seen what Powerz is able to do on that map. We've seen what TJ is able to do on that map. So this is one of those instances, Ryan. You see the other team banning your best map, or if on your side banning your opponent's best maps, and then from there, like DeTox said, our map pool is very deep. So just go with it from there, and you know you're gonna have the advantage on RushieZ's side.
Yeah, I mean, look at the bans, right? And you see that United bans Reactor Control. They haven't played Reactor Control at all in Pro League. You see RushieZ banning Spire Control. Haven't played Spire Control at all in Pro League. And you see both teams effectively taking out each one of each other's best execution map. That makes it really, to me, make that sort of middle of the map, right? That escalation so important. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these picks shape up to be.
Speaking of picks, it is going to be District Control. Check out Execution. Vasgar Escalation, picked by eUnited, by the way. Ritual Control and Tomb Execution. So that Escalation could have actually been a choice to go Harbor instead of Vasgar, which again rises up 4-1 all time in the series. But eUnited's feeling confidence here, RushieZ.
Well, it's not that they're confident in Vasgar, it's that they're very unconfident when it comes to
Harbor.
That's their auto. That's their auto ban. So when RushieZ banned away training grounds, they left open only two possible choices.
Yep.
And even though you lost 4 times, you only won it once, you have to go to that map that you have the most practice on. That checkout execution, both of these teams extremely strong on. And then I'm looking at Tomb Execution. And we haven't talked about enough this weekend. The biggest tournament that we've had was just earlier this week, and we had the E-Day playoffs. And you saw what happened. It came down to round 11. It was eUnited that lost that. So if we get back to that 5th map, Tomb Execution, eUnited is going to have a chip on their shoulders. More specifically, Dyslexic, one of the best 1v1 players in the game, lost a crucial 1v1 to Fiercely. So just in history past, Ryan, we've seen what Tomb Execution can bring to the table as a 5th map. We've had so many round 11s there, tournament deciding rounds on that map. And I'm just hoping, I'm trying to set that up that we get there, because that's the best possible situation for everybody, including us who are just trying to watch the best possible match.
Yeah, I mean, nothing beats a Game 5, Round 11 on execution. Obviously, all of us are on the older side. We love ourselves some execution, so I really hope we get there. That would be a fantastic map. Some of these picks a little puzzling, right? You do see that Vasgar in the middle. John, you mentioned it. RushieZ is 4-1 in this particular matchup. Of course, it could be them choosing that because maybe they don't feel as practiced on Harbor. And then, Jordan, I'm a little surprised to see that Tomb execution pick as well because of the fact that I do believe I'm reading this right. eUnited is 4-0 on Clock Tower. You'd think they might want to lean on Clock Tower as that potential Game 5, but they must have something up their sleeve right now. This is going to be one of those interesting ones. Of course, these are two incredibly high caliber teams. A lot of teams will hold things as they come into the major, so maybe they're throwing all the shots here.
Interesting things, that's for sure, that are about to happen. And we'll go to that final round 11. We shall see. Let's take a look at the keys to victory here. Kicking off with RushieZ. Fran's keys to victory.
Yeah, I'll take it away. Keep building momentum. Continue to rely on teamwork. RushieZ has had amazing teamwork. A couple of missteps, a couple of team kills throughout the weekend, but you could see that they're trying to step it up and they're trying to make the right play as often as possible. And then short-term memory, play in the moment. And that's an amazing key that we haven't really seen throughout the last couple of events. And basically what that means, if you mess up and there's a crucial, round-ending choke or somebody misses a crucial shot, as long as the match is still going on, you have to put it in the past, continue on to the next play. And that's something that it doesn't surprise me that Fran says that, because that was something he was so good at. He would never dwell on a misplay too often. He knew that the next play was more important than the past.
I remember Fran complaining, looking pissed off in between rounds, but I digress. Maybe it was a quick complaint and then on to the next one. Ryan, I'm just kidding. Right over to you, eUnited. Keys to success.
Yeah, I mean, a huge part of this series for this team is going to be winning that escalation in the middle. You heard me kind of touch on it a little earlier on. I think that map is going to be so important. We already know it's the swing map. That's already a big part of these series, especially when two top teams play. But in this particular case, they are 1-4 on Vasgar against RushieZ. So if there's ever a time to start turning that record around, it's going to be here at the major. So I think that's a huge part of the series for this team. And then this nice little Star Wars pun right here. They need to use the Force. That boy TJForce needs to be looking like the TJForce that we know. He always plays so well at events. So if TJ plays lights out, that makes this team so hard to beat. You already know what you're going to get from Powerz, Dyslexic. When TJ's firing on all cylinders, he is just as scary. So if he has a big series, it's going to make everyone on eUnited's job that much easier.
Absolutely. I'm loving that Fran's still sneaking in the dad jokes and the puns here on Saturday as my camera turns off. I just became a black box. Hello, everybody. You can't see me.
The lights
but
turn off?
still here.
You're in a very dark room. You are in a very dark room. The lights turn off and it goes black. I want to add to that TJ one also and say more specifically, I want to see TJ take over on execution. He's been able to do that in the past, especially in champ bracket. He kind of goes on like sleeper mode a lot of the times throughout Pro League, but we've seen him turn up so much in a major in champ bracket on that specific game type. If he can negate players like RushieZ, negate players like INZEM, I think that's where TJ can really help, especially Ryan on that checkout. We've seen him have breakout performances on that specific map, and that's map number 2.
Yeah, no, like I said, he's going to be such a big part of this. Every single one of these maps to me is so important when it comes down to a series like this, right? These are two teams that are going to give you everything you got. They played each other so many times, right? We were looking through all the different times they've played each other. There's so many things that each one of them can take from each other from these past series, both very, very well coached teams. So I think every single player is going to be so important. Every single map, every single round, you cannot give either of these teams an inch. Welcome back, John.
They turned the lights on, and then they turned off his mic.
John is in shambles right now. That was me earlier.
Right
yeah, Fran.
I'm not going to blame you, John. Somebody's sabotaging you. It's not your fault.
I don't know who it is, but it's ridiculous. No, but it's time. I'm back. Everything's good. Lights are back on. Microphone working. Everything fully functioning. Sorry about that, y'all. Let's jump into predictions, though. I'm excited for this part of the discussion, right? Who y'all think is going to take it? Because like we've all said, it's kind of a coin flip. 11-9, 3-2 in the grand overall scheme of series. It is really a close one. eUnited is looking really, really hot. I'll kick off the prediction by saying eUnited is looking hot. However, I got RushieZ taking it. I think the map pool ultimately, and talking with the analysts before the series, gives RushieZ the slight upper hand. I think affinity as a coach, perhaps outsmarting and out decision making there, and choosing the right map pool to set his team up for success. I got RushieZ winning this 3-2. It's going the distance. Ribs, how about you?
I'm going to go against RushieZ, and I don't normally do this. I usually go against the eUnited, so everybody's probably just thinking, why even ask Ribs? This is going to be a RushieZ pick. I am going to go with the eUnited. I think they're going to tie up the series count in this split to a 3-3, and I think they might even run into each other another time throughout this tournament. And I'm going to go ahead and say eUnited wins maps 2, 4, and 5. They are going to lose that Vasgar, and they will lose that first map, Reactor. We get to that tomb, like I said, they just finished losing a round 11 map 5 in a money match, a tournament. I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They're going to learn from that, and they're going to be able to win that tomb execution. I have Dyslexic breaking out on this event too, being the most dynamic player. We talk about Powerz, we talk about Escels. I think Dyslexic is kind of slept on as one of the best player, if not the best player in Gears right now.
Ooh, I love that breakdown from in entirety. So, last time both Ryan and I went with the eUnited and you went with RushieZ. This time it might be flipped. Ryan, I'm curious, you're the tiebreaker here. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with RushieZ. I tend to go sort of on the side of history, and history has given RushieZ the nod in this matchup. I do think the maps definitely lean into RushieZ's favor as well. I did not like that map 3 and map 5 choice personally, so I am going to give the nod to RushieZ. Like I said, I think they are going to very likely take that escalation in the middle. I'm a big fan of that sort of being the swing map in these series. So I do think that Affinity and their whole RushieZ team did a very good job, did their homework, and I think this map pool just favors them. And I also just love what I heard from DeTox in his interview. I loved his demeanor. I loved his approach. I loved the lack of fear that there was in terms of who they played. So I just get the feeling they're coming into this event very ready, very motivated. There's only a couple of these left. They know they got to get a chip home to Roger Saffold and the RushieZ team. So that to me is kind of what I think is going to be a big one.
I love it. Well, hey, this is about to be an absolute bloodbath between two titans of Gears, two teams that play ultra aggressive in your face. Shoddy's out. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be high octane. It's going to be entertaining. And guess what? To call the action, we got Reflections and Toby Campbell, two of the best casters, analysts we have in Gears Esports. Take it away, guys.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. North America, they're about to cannibalize each other. RushieZ, eUnited for a spot in winners finals. And Toby, this is a personal one.
Yeah, it is. It's huge. And I was just mulling over just that head-to-head graphic, by the way. Shout out to UMG again. That was just insane. We didn't expect that. I think you were shocked to see that. And we were like, wow, amazing stuff. Anyway, eUnited versus RushieZ. What a matchup this is. It's going to, I think, perhaps be the first major test, I want to say, of both these teams so far this major. So we're going to have a taste there. There's that angle of this match. It's also that it's just going to be neck and neck. I think all the analysts, despite, kind of leaning the map pool way, if you want to lean towards RushieZ, I'm with that as well. As I mentioned to you, I think RushieZ have the better map pool in this instance for this match. Despite that, you just know it's going to be close. And as a result, this could be the closest match yet of the major, Taylor.
Could very well be, but it could also be a blowout as well, which in a way wouldn't surprise me. The thing is, RushieZ, eUnited can both be explosive teams, Toby. I have seen, or at least expected, a close series multiple times in Split 3 between these two rosters, more specifically for Emergence days. And, I mean, they would trade off, literally all 4 weeks of accumulating points before the playoffs, which ended up being Pittsburgh Knights taking that over eUnited. It was RushieZ and eUnited who competed against each other time in and time out. They both split 2 championships apiece, and it was like 1 week eUnited would win, the next week RushieZ would win, and so on and so forth. So this series could be very wild. It could go the distance. It could be a blowout. It just really depends on which team has a better mindset and who has their head in the game. But make no mistake about it, blowout, post-series, it's going to be fun no matter which way you look at it, Toby. I'm so excited.
So am I, Taylor. This is going to be huge. I mean, District as a map in general, to really specialize in that for just a moment. 300 to 99. That was the last Pro League result between these two teams. It was the first map back then, and RushieZ won that by that huge of a margin. 201 points, Taylor. Let's see if they can do it again.
Let's see if they can. Now, earlier in the day, or at least in pool play, right, RushieZ did lose to Fury 1 when it came down to District, 300 to 270. Maybe there's a chance eUnited can strike hot here, but RushieZ is going to get a great start. Now 13 points up. We have players 1 and 2 feeling very comfortable inside the hill. INZEM also winning a fight against TJ. Keys to victory from Fran. Hey, use the force if you're eUnited. I agree with that. TJ needs a pop-off series here for eUnited to find success.
Yeah, he was a big storyline for eUnited back in the last major, that's for sure. Honestly, when eUnited really played well, eUnited had to have TJ right there on the front line, especially on maps like Afira, and so you want to see that. Speaking of that, though, Demise getting caught out there, downed. I believe he had 1 drop shot left as well. when we cast back to him. And so that's huge in of itself. 50 seconds now, even over that with RushieZ still capping up the remaining points. eUnited choosing to slow things down for this next hill. But yeah, absolutely. I think everyone needs to be firing on all cylinders. And we need to see Powerz go off, I think, in this series in general, especially perhaps in those execution moments. We need to see them come together now because RushieZ are looking as good as ever, Taylor.
Oh man, RushieZ is looking incredible. Their teamwork has been on point. And speaking of which, little caveat there, eUnited, I've had a chance to talk to a couple of them, whether they be for interviews or just on the side. And one of the things they worked on this split was teamwork. They understand in split 2, especially during the Winter Major, one of the reasons why they lost to Kansas City Pioneers in Grand Finals, just getting second place, was because they were getting isolated. They had great individuality, but they didn't have the best teamwork. For split 3, they have really dialed it in. They've worked on the teamwork, and I gotta say, it is showing. RushieZ's teamwork is great, but right now, eUnited is coming back. The pressure is starting to mount up, and we are getting that competitive series as I expected we would.
Well, we've had the introduction before this game. We've set it up the best we can as casters and analysts, and now the gameplay is fully underway between these two teams. They clash with shotguns. RushieZ go back and forth with the shotgun kills. TJ now on our screen. Great shot from Dyslexic, meanwhile, as they're still battling for the scrap time of the 20 seconds. The rotation is still going to be huge, Taylor, of course. The numbers are important. That's what everyone's focusing on right now.
Big win for INZEM. That might secure the drop, but he has unfinished business that he has just up ahead. They want to get Dyslexic out of the way. RushieZ might pick it up. He's going to be the guy in mid. Watch out, though. TJ looking to make a play, and he will make a play. Avexys a little bit too late, but he won't save his teammates. He'll still get the elimination. Demise will walk away with the drop shot. Such a massive play from TJ.
I do like it. I mean, we were getting pretty excited for what was a 1v across the way from the hill, but yeah, you need to see it. That's the exciting moments you need to see come out from the players like TJ. They're going to have a chance to defeat RushieZ today. 0-2 right now, Demise. Does it matter? Drop shot back on his back. Wasn't able to utilize it earlier. Can he make amends? One down for DeTox. Powerz trading out. Drop shot is going to be thrown in, and we'll find Dyslexic, unfortunately. 1v2 now for him to handle.
Demise can clutch up here. Maybe fix a bit of a mistake he made a bit earlier. He does have the help of TJ, so that's going to taper off INZEM and Avexys, or at least make their job a bit harder. TJ feels confident, pushes straight into Nasher of Avexys. That's going to be a down. Powerz now looking to capitalize where some mistakes were made. Unfortunately, he's going to fall a bit short. Fortunately, though, for RushieZ, they've got a pretty decent hill, and eUnited are spawning way across the map, so they're going to have to sprint over.
Look at this. RushieZ pressurizing for the next hill as well. 20 seconds left, or even under that now on the hill. And RushieZ are ready to go on the next. Great job from DeTox, holding right hand for as long as he can on that archway. That's 2 kills being rewarded for his efforts. Just taking the lead as well, RushieZ once more. As things do pause for just a moment. No power weapons in play as such just yet. INZEM rolling back out, jumping back out into blue. Question is now, how's eUnited going to attack this, right? Is it going to be more split push for the angles? Is it just going to be straight down the middle? It's going to be tough. Utility will be required, though. Dyslexic throws the first.
DeTox knows he's going to have some company. Well, actually, he won't. You would think that eUnited would pressure into DeTox. Instead, they want to clear out the hill. RushieZ kind of keeps him at bay a little bit, but DeTox is there out of bandstand, picking up 1. Now, TJ, a bit weak. He's going to end up dying. Avexys is going to get the drop shot. You mentioned eUnited. How would they make the push? I thought they were going to get DeTox out of bandstand. They don't, and, well, DeTox ends up being the thorn in their side once the smoke settles.
Yeah, and eUnited in general has been stylistically more of a Wolfpack team than historically. We're back when you had Explosive and Kenny and the likes, you know, back then. They've been all about speed, right? And trying to come together and win those shotgun team fights. Meanwhile, RushieZ have continued their kind of fashion, if you will, even with the swap from IC over to INZEM, the aggression that he offers. But right now, it seems like RushieZ have got that unlocked. You know, the setups are still there, as always, though, that they're known for, and the crossing and the teamwork. But their shotguns are currently dominating right now. Look at this from INZEM. Amazing reaction shot from him. Trying to hold the shot to find Powerz. Powerz is literally pinball bouncing between 2 walls. Doesn't matter, he will fall. And look at that score lead now for RushieZ.
they're hitting their stride. I think yesterday when we casted over RushieZ playing against Fury 1, Toby, you've made the point that they're not trying to make any star-studded plays. They weren't trying to be the heroes or make ego challenges. They were playing good gears. Nice, controlled, pacing style of gears, ABCs if you will. And we're seeing the same thing here. There's nothing miraculous being done from RushieZ aside from they're locking in their lanes, they're team firing together, they're rotating together, and they're not getting overzealous. That makes a championship caliber roster. And we might be seeing that right now with RushieZ themselves. I mean, they have a great, tremendous lead, nearly 100 points.
It's about playing by the book, right? Usually that involves power weapon usage. Of course, Demise actually was the player who got the drop shot twice, but wasn't able to really use it effectively, a trade on the second one. And despite that, I mean, you know, losing that and RushieZ not having the drop shot that often, they have had the teamwork and playing by the book on lock, and it's really working out for them. You know, they tried to employ a similar strategy against Fury 1. Yeah, they ended up losing it, but yeah, I mean, right now, eUnited don't look too different in many ways, but they just don't have the moments of speed that Fury 1 really took to RushieZ. And I fear right now, Taylor, that perhaps the game is getting a little bit too ahead of eUnited to have an opportunity to come back in with that, you know, kind of ferocity that's necessary.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of in that weird spot where it's like it is scary, but eUnited, if they can have one successful hill, I think they can come back. It's a weird stalemate. I mean, but it almost looks like the old Escalation days when District was played. You know, you have kind of one team on one side, the other team on the other side, but finally we find it, you know, we'll see Demise break away and get onto the hill. This is the first time eUnited genuinely has, you know, first shot and control of a hill. This is going to be one of those times we see RushieZ now. How well can they break a hill and break the setup of eUnited?
Generally speaking, like a rule of thumb here, RushieZ would prefer to slow it down than say eUnited, I would argue, right? And we've had a lot of slow moments and setups now. eUnited have chosen to slow it down. I mean, if they can hold this out, then fair play to them. But here comes RushieZ from the flank, from out of nowhere, it seems like. Coming on through relatively easy. 3v3 now for the rest of the players of this hill to try and deal with.
Slaxic, he's got a lot of pressure on him, but utility out. TJ might make a move, but he's going to stay put. Shock will stop the exit point. DeTox has no choice but to fight, but I mean, was eUnited trapped in the cage with RushieZ, or was RushieZ trapped in the cage with EU? I mean, I couldn't tell, but it seemed like RushieZ, they were the lions, they were hungry, and they ate eUnited alive in that push, and well, that's going to put them close to 250 if they stay here the whole time.
And just to add salt to that wound, Taylor, while all that was going on, INZEM was able to get hold of the drop shot in the center, and that's important. 15 seconds left on the hill. He still has that able to be used, essentially, right? And so, I'm curious if they can leverage that to the end of this game. Meanwhile, though, eUnited lighted the kill feed this time around. There's INZEM with a drop. He's going to get taken down, in fact, and that will be right in front of Demise to pick up. I think his third drop shot of the game. He needs to get value from it, though, Taylor.
Definitely needs to get value. We're back at the start. P1. Will this time be different? Maybe it could be a fresh start for eUnited, a fresh start they desperately have needed. Once again, RushieZ have to break the setup of EU, and they have to do it while avoiding Demise with the drop shot. It's going to be a tricky position. Shock will at least block his exit point. We saw this earlier. eUnited was trying to do it to RushieZ, but it didn't work. Through the Shock, though, Demise with a bit of a misroll, maybe trying to get away for TJ to pick him up, but the drop shot will go to waste. TJ will misroll as well, and that's going to be a hill for RushieZ.
Great job. Honestly, such a good job so far from DeTox. Great movement, trying to go for that gib over the top, not having any of his dyslexic and Powerz. Now, 30 seconds left on this one. It's tough. It really is tough right now for eUnited to judge how to play this one out, because it's only, what, 39 seconds left for RushieZ to finish this one off. It's a huge gap. It's a big margin, but it's certainly doable if they can find it.
To eUnited's credit, they are catching up, but we did see a couple of mistakes on this very hill. This time it was RushieZ just with good tenacity and good teamwork, and obviously RushieZ getting a two-piece. They take over the Cinema Hill. 12 seconds remain, so obviously RushieZ won't win off of this, but now that puts them less than 30 points away from victory, which makes the chances of eUnited winning this map that much slimmer. We're going to now P2 off of the second rotation with a 278 to 170 lead. Once again, 108 points up is going to be RushieZ. DJ sees Avexys. Avexys gets away unscathed. No drop, or at least he doesn't get dropped in the moment. He will use the drop. Two players in front. That's going to be a two-piece. Surely this will be over shortly.
You think so? DeTox is dead, so it's the 3v2 in terms of the number situation. Shock thrown out, but that's not going to lead to much. 10 seconds left, and the RushieZ players are stacked up, ready to go. TJ's going to fall at the start. It's not looking good.
94, 295. eUnited, they're breaking through, but is it going to be enough? Will they get there in time? Shut down at the 1 yard line. They keep it 299 to 176. That's because TJ is behind, but only short-lived. He's going to be finished off in a very short district. 11 minutes and 15 seconds, 300 to 176. RushieZ will win map number 1 and take a critical 1-0 lead.
That they will. That they will. And maybe some people would have had concerns, and rightfully so, for RushieZ going to district from what we've seen from them so far, losing to Fury 1, of course, a lower-ranked Pro League team, and facing up against eUnited. But no, they seem to handle that quite well, right, Taylor? You know, everything was on point. I mentioned the shotguns already. I'm concerned, I'll be honest, to eUnited for not really finding much value at all from the drop shot, despite the amount of times they got it. Right, and you know what that means against a team like RushieZ. They're all about teamwork. We bang on about it for the longest time. They're kind of like it's similar to Envious in many ways. You know, they kind of gone that same route, that journey in terms of how they've played. And it reminds you of you know, back then, of course, Fran used to be on this team in particular. And so for them to give up a drop shot, it really goes to show the efforts that must have gone through for the other team to get it. 3 times as well, or 2 times and a pickup as well. For eUnited not to find those opportunities and get the value that they've really worked hard for, I think that's a huge point. It's really something to consider. And it perhaps goes to show that maybe RushieZ are a little bit more clued in, a little bit more warmed up now and ready for a match of this scale, really.
Oh, yeah.
And eUnited perhaps less so. And really, they need to be the ones who are quick and leading the pace of the game. And a pass key to victory, even in the last major, that Fran was rightfully put down, is that they are about speed these days. You know, you need to be in your face. They, you know, in the opponent's faces. And TJ, yeah, we saw some great moments from him, but not enough, clearly so. And concerning times perhaps for eUnited.
There were moments where eUnited would just kind of freeze, you know, like almost like it was an execution round where
it was a bit slow generally, wasn't it? It was fast.
Yeah, it was very
a fast
slow
district in terms of how quick it finished, but it was eUnited that rightfully were choosing rather to go the pace of RushieZ, to go more
100%.
slow and wait and chill and relax and see what they can do with Lancers.
Which is not normal.
Not normal at all. I mean, is that is that a mental thing, Taylor? Perhaps is that them? You know, like, oh, we're struggling. We need to reset. You know, being a little bit too quick to reset and call the reset and slow things down.
Right.
And is that just them being a little bit too different and being a bit uncomfortable at that point? You know, maybe just play to what you're used to, I guess, at that point.
Well, Toby, I think it's more so like RushieZ commanded respect. They commanded real estate on the map. eUnited might not have been timid. I don't think they were, but they definitely struggled to find gaps in not only the defensive setups, but the map control of RushieZ. I think RushieZ controlled district incredibly well. And they also made big plays. Going back to what I was saying a bit before, which you originally brought up yesterday, Toby, RushieZ, they're not exposing themselves to, you know, big play. Like 1v3s are great to see. You know, we love seeing our aces, but at the end of the day, if you go back to ABCs and just play good gears, it may not be spectacular to watch. In fact, at times it might be a little bit boring, but that's how you win. And it's different because when you start going for the star-studded plays and the ego challenges, if you make it happen, you make it happen. But you can't hang your hat on that. And you know that, Toby. You have to go for the controlled style of play. And I think RushieZ did that, and eUnited just simply could not find a way to break up RushieZ. They just could not. And that's why eUnited was so slow, because how do you go about it, Toby? I mean, you watched the whole thing from yourself. You had the mini-map. How would you have went about it?
Yeah, it's absolutely an accurate assessment there. And I think just generally speaking, right, we know RushieZ are going to nail the teamwork and they're going to go for the setups and the early rotations. It's just who they are. You know, you can't expect it. You take it for granted even. You know, perhaps don't give them enough credit for that, even though we do mention they are about teamwork and Lancers. But it's the fact that I think RushieZ, usually they fall on their sword typically because they lose in the slaying department. They don't have the spark that we're alluding to now that eUnited are perhaps known for, is that TJForce going off and Powerz going off and bouncing into your face and you having to deal with that. Sadly, you know, that, you know, is RushieZ's kryptonite in a way, that individual shotgunning. And from what I saw, RushieZ, DeTox, everyone was going off with the shotgun. You know, they had really good team fights, both sides. They've really good attempts, good moments. TJ, of course, we pointed out there. But now RushieZ had that unlock, it seemed like, on those opportunities. slim, not many opportunities, shall we say, from eUnited, because RushieZ was so locked down. They had the opportunities, but no, eUnited could not capitalize. And I feel like they need to focus on capitalizing it now. Like, they really do. And going into checkout, maybe, just maybe, that's exactly the map they need, as we saw with Defiance earlier when they had a really rough start against the more experienced and PK roster as a team of 4. So let's see if they can turn things around there.
Gonna have to, man. Check out. It's gonna be a big map for eUnited. We looked at Vasgar, which, funny enough, eUnited, they picked Vasgar, but when we looked at the history of them playing in that beautiful graphic production made, Vasgar, 4-1 lead for RushieZ. eUnited's only won that map once, and that's because RushieZ plays such a controlled style of play. Checkout is great because it allows eUnited to accentuate the individualistic slaying power, which they are very much so known for, and they can flex that off of the initials. You look at Defiance with Cells. I mean, he was able to disrupt Pittsburgh Knights setups, which ultimately ended up winning the series for PK, but Cells did such a wonderful job penetrating that setup early on that, I mean, Pittsburgh Knights struggled to deal with it. So this is another chance for, I don't know, Powerz or Dyslexic off of the initial to really disrupt the flow and break up that setup of RushieZ, because you know what? RushieZ slayed out on District, Toby, but if you were to put these guys in just a straight up, team fight, team deathmatch, if you will,
Sure.
I think eUnited might actually have the upper hand, because you take away that teamwork from RushieZ and just simply, slaying power to slaying power. I think eUnited has it. But then again, when you introduce teamwork, I think RushieZ is a better team. But check out, slaying power means a lot. And I think eUnited, for them, they need to accentuate that and really bring that to the forefront. That's how you beat them on map 2.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I'm a stats guy and I kind of lean towards the number side of things, but just generally stylistically, yeah, I fully agree with that. I think eUnited do actually have the edge in the slaying power, especially in a chaotic environment like checkout, where lancers have to be put away, where the shotguns have to be relied on, you have to be close to your teammates, you have to be fast, etc., on the balls of your feet. And it's interesting. It really is, because RushieZ historically has had some good moments on checkout, not so good moments. eUnited is kind of similar, honestly. It's not like PK or how confident I was earlier with them on this map, but I mean, just put it into perspective. RushieZ actually beat Defiance yesterday on this map 6-4. We saw what Defiance did earlier to PK, right? I mean, that
similar
immediately puts
playstyle.
RushieZ in a similar position in that sense. But yes, indeed. I mean, eUnited of all teams, if you think of a team that is going to cause an upset on checkout, I think eUnited, stylistically speaking, is probably the team to do it. So
that's actually, that's a great point. Defiance, I think, are going to play almost similar to eUnited. If RushieZ beat them, I mean, RushieZ might be able to win here, but we talked about it enough. Let's see how it's going to play out. TJ looking to go for 2 off the rip. DeTox forced to retreat away. He stays alive miraculously, but as he comes back, TJ is ready. TJ going for the 3rd. He's going to get it. Now you got the last alive, which is going to be RushieZ, and RushieZ, he is running, but not for long, because TJ will lock in his 4th elimination. He gets the ace, of course, with some help, but what a performance that was.
Already getting flashbacks, Taylor. I'll be honest, for TJ on this plat, it was always the first man, right? Typically, and it was kind of the edge, I guess, for a lot of moments. When you're playing as eUnited in this new gen roster that I keep framing it as, right? So yeah, very, very cool indeed to see. Has to be said from TJ already. Sad, of course, that we can't continue into the round 2 and continue to see what's on offer. But just think about this for a second. Let's just assume that TJ can actually keep this up, and eUnited keep this kind of strategy of 4-manning it and just going full speed ahead, kind of like Defiance. I think it's actually RushieZ, not the eUnited, which could be thought of as Defiance in this situation, who is going to change the strat up and go for the more passive strats of like nades and whatnot. Remember, RushieZ are the team that kind of kickstarted that really aggressive approach to Clock Tower, where you played heavy down bottom, and RushieZ could see what he did there. I think RushieZ are probably the first team to kind of deviate away and kind of play the more strategy game. And I think we might actually see that now if eUnited can really show up in this checkout area with TJ perhaps at the helm.
Well, Fran said it. TJ, he needs to be a standout player. And off of that round 1, he was a standout player. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, 4 kills. It was the perfect start you could possibly get. And he was so destructive on the platform fight, which RushieZ could take note of that. You know, execution's blazingly fast. You know, 20-second rounds, and then you lead straight into yet another round, and all of a sudden, 20 seconds later, you're down 2-0, and it can really snowball. This break could have been a blessing in disguise, obviously, because there was only 3 rounds, so it was technically a best of 3, which we don't want to see. We need that round 11, all right? So we need all the rounds in order to make that possible. But Toby, great opening start for eUnited. Big adjustment needed for RushieZ, and more importantly, they need to shut TJ down because TJ wasn't punished. You know very well TJ is once again going to go plat, and he's looking to get another ace. That's just his mentality.
And you'd hope RushieZ are the team to read that. Of all teams, honestly, they are the team to read that at this point, and I think they've had a lot of practice, on checkout. Yeah, admittedly, some good moments, some really not so good moments, especially in majors on checkout. I'm just hoping that they really incorporate, that smarts and experience there. Just to cast our minds back quickly, I mean, it's District. RushieZ won that in the Pro League match. Then eUnited won the execution straight after. So, hey, can eUnited repeat that? Let's see.
Ooh, TJ's second down and out. Seems RushieZ did, in fact, solo him. Look at how far eUnited had to rotate back, but even so, maybe a bit of a recovery. 4v3. Now make that a 3v3. Avexys needs back up. Will he be able to tap up? Well, he's got help. So he is back into the fight with RushieZ, and now got a bit of a stalemate. Started off great for RushieZ. I thought it was going to be a huge round for them, especially with the first and early down, but eUnited, they answered back very quickly. And now Avexys is going to be by himself. You're saying uh-oh, and I'm hearing it because it's now going to be Avexys pincered, and he is gone and dusted. If eUnited doesn't get away with the INZEMs, that pressure off the rip for RushieZ might have been great.
Yeah. Totally agreed. Totally agreed. And RushieZ do need to keep up kind of that snappiness as well to make sure they handle that as time does go on. Well done from eUnited. Good effort there, as it was not easy for them to handle the rest of it. I'm just going to stare at the top right again on my screen. I'm so curious to see how strategies play out here. Number 8, number 4. We're going to have a 1B over to the nades. No, you might have seen RushieZ double backing now to have the numbers advantage, kind of like a trick strap mid-round transition or early round transition. Let's see if they can make it work.
Let's see if they can. You mentioned that transition. Dyslexic, will he be enough with the nades? Avexys, nice shot onto Demise. Dyslexic, he does join his teammates once again. RushieZ, though, will take him down. The nades will go to the wayside. And now, the 1v3. It is going to be RushieZ answering back. Talk to me about that adjustment you pointed out.
Yeah, Kenny did it earlier, right, on the very last round. It's that the thing with checkout since the dawn of time on Gears 3 is you can see the strat that the other team is using by just looking down the middle of the map, in between that photo center and the checkout and the incense, right? And so a lot of players do like to double back on the last moment once the nade player is outside and you've lost the line, the sight line, if you will. But I feel like even then, RushieZ just weren't that quick necessarily pushing with that, but they made it work in the end, and RushieZ certainly did too.
Oh, already some big opening kills. This time, Demise being the guy to kind of carry the torch for TJ. Another kill. And RushieZ are getting destroyed on the plat fight. That is now the second to third time we have seen either Demise or TJ absolutely run through RushieZ on plat. They have to find a way to get Demise or TJ off of there without them getting instants or without them picking up 2 to 3 eliminations.
Look at that. TJ felt straight away. RushieZ were in the driving seat, and suddenly, Demise was 3 kills within like 5 seconds. We were talking about TJ. It's actually Demise was 6-1 now. And it looks like, RushieZ will be going to the nades once more.
Set going towards the nade, so a bit of a standoff between Dyslexic and RushieZ. That's going to be fun to see how that plays out. The platform fight a bit more tame this time around, Toby. The players do back away, but it is RushieZ taking priority over the checkout stands, and player 6 is also closest. I'm curious if RushieZ is setting up to maybe make a push towards eUnited, or is eUnited going to make the push themselves, because the 1v1 up top has kind of settled down too. We've kind of settled down all around.
Yeah, you're right. Totally right. You see the utility being thrown. Yeah, eUnited going to burst into energy instantly, get on top of the incense. TJ falling, Demise especially as well. Getting down pretty much instantly, but incense in hand will connect. INZEM will fall, but 3v2 as the dust settles. RushieZ will have the numbers advantage. I was looking for it. Look at Dyslexic, though. The 1v1 has evolved. They have to try and whittle down the numbers one way or another. Dyslexic is chasing RushieZ, and he gets it, Taylor. 2v2. Avexys with the snipe, though.
He's on the hunt. He is absolutely wanting to body one of these players up ahead, but we do have the eUnited split. RushieZ can't confidently push either one. Maybe Powerz could be a victim here. Avexys needed that shot. He doesn't get it. But notice, Powerz did pick up a stray INZEM that was on the ground. That could be beneficial. But DeTox is making a move. Powerz is ready, though. INZEM's going to be out. He sends it flying, and he's going to connect on the DeTox. Now Avexys 1v2.
One headshot. That's all he needs. And they have to transition cover to cover. 10 seconds. eUnited choosing when to go. Powerz has the angle. Could this be it now?
Back. Tries to get up to Powerz, but Powerz is going to have it. You notice how he continually backed away, Toby. That INZEM that was on the ground, Powerz sees it, picks it up, and he gets the connection that was needed. Such a beautiful play. And not to mention, even going back, Toby, Dyslexic with that aggression. That was wonderful to see as well.
It was. It really is. It's a team effort, right? We were talking about eUnited, TJForce and Demise for this roster, but it really is going to have to be a team effort against RushieZ with how well they've been playing as of recent and their really strong start on District. Speaking of strategies, though, we're back to the 4v4 at checkout, which surely favors eUnited, especially if TJ can get off, and he does with those incense.
Uh-oh, but is Powerz caught out? There was a chance for INZEM maybe to get a couple of tags onto him. Unfortunately, he doesn't. Demise, though, will get first blood. RushieZ once again on the back foot, forced to just make something out of nothing. Now 4v1, RushieZ last alive. He's already down, Toby. eUnited up 5-1. Talk about recovering your mentality after a very lackluster map 1.
Yeah, it's a very tough situation for RushieZ. I honestly, genuinely believe a 3v3 and a 1v1 is a better situation for RushieZ than the all 4 in towards the checkout. Even RushieZ doing 4 there is not just going to trick strat, I don't think, eUnited in general, because they're going to see it coming. And so you kind of just agreeing, all right, we'll play your game. RushieZ, yeah, leaning towards the mid line. See if he double backs at any point, either player. But yeah, this time INZEM will be the first one up, and Lancers will be the choice of weapon for eUnited. Demise getting down in the process.
Okay, well, we see RushieZ, slowly but surely come back. Look at the aggression from Powerz. It's the first time we've really seen him overextend himself to the opposite side where RushieZ is staying. And even for Demise, I mean, he was right there at the 1-yard line. He could have made the push, but he doesn't. Powerz ultimately backs away and gets the sniper for himself. First time we're seeing the sniper in the hands, I believe, of eUnited. Maybe they had it a little bit before, but it is going to be INZEM with INZEMs, Powerz with sniper. Both of those are scary, but I'm more concerned if I was RushieZ, obviously, about Powerz because we have seen the plays he can make.
Oh, RushieZ has to be careful. I'm sure he's aware that Powerz is down there now. Benefit, of course, third person. And Gears, INZEM thrown, not going to connect. Lots of pressure from RushieZ. Have to be careful with the snipe, though, in the transition. DeTox getting body checked. Not going to be down, though. RushieZ will take checkout.
All right. Decisions. Take checkout. Big decisions, a big rotation. Yeah. Toby, I mean, you got to think Overtime Hill is going to be in electronics.
Absolutely. And lucky that Powerz has a snipe right now because he can keep the heads down over on plan. They don't get angled out. Meanwhile, elsewhere, RushieZ still lurking. Still kind of used to that secret manning strategy when he sneaks to kill. 30 seconds on the clock. Powerz just another body check again. He needs a headshot and he finds it. Beautiful 3v3 check on RushieZ as he tries to flank on round.
Powerz, baby! He's the man who can make it happen. That's going to be number 3, and RushieZ. We'll see you later, baby. That's a big win from eUnited, 6-1, and a hell of an answer. Powerz, you know, he always has that pop-off potential. Yes, he pops off in the last round. He goes 9-1, but Dyslexic, TJ, Demise, they all had a hand in the victory here, and they all had pop-off. Hey, pop-off kings, you love to see it rise. Now they got to fight back. Map number 3, Vasgar Escalation. It's not going to be easy for eUnited, but after that, the momentum might have shifted and swayed. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, map 3 coming your way. Welcome back to an exhilarating day 2 of the Gear Spring Major. I cannot believe the victory from eUnited, Toby. 6-1. Powerz popping off at the very end. Very well could be giving our play of the day. What an amazing performance that was from eUnited as a whole, though. Let's walk through each and every member of them and what made them so special here.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about TJForce. He started off strong, of course, before a slight delay. Demise started coming in. I think he finished with the best KD in the game, if I'm not too mistaken. Dyslexic was coming into his own as well. And, of course, Powerz we saw right at the end. he certainly came into his own as he's known to be. That star player, perhaps one of the best players we've ever seen in this game. In fact, definitely one of the best players we've ever seen in this game. Let's be real. Look at Dyslexic, right? This was a big one. Chasing RushieZ down in that situation to even out the numbers was what allowed eUnited to even come back into that round. Like, that was huge in what he was able to accomplish there. And here, oh my goodness, he was a clip. Take it away. I mean, come on.
Oh my gosh. It just gets better. I'm starting to sweat. Like Colin does, all right? Look at this. I mean, come on. It was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Powerz has that pop-up potential, and it starts to make me worry for RushieZ. Not because RushieZ isn't a great team. Not because RushieZ can't win this series, because they already proved that they can. They've done it in the past. But when Powerz starts to feel himself, it is so hard to play against him. I don't care who you are.
And that's honestly the key to victory. Right, it was all about TJForce, right, on that key to victory, but it's just all of these players. I mean, Demise was coming into his own. Let's remember what District, right? Demise didn't really do well with the drop shot. You know, two drop shots, didn't really do much with them. And I thought that was a big issue considering the gravity of the situation, of the team they're playing against, and everything else coinciding. But then he just comes back on checkout. He didn't even start strong. It was TJForce that did, and then Demise was like, you know what? I'll just handle this plat as well. This is us. We're good. There's no problem there at all. And likewise, finally, Powerz. We need him to play like he is Powerz. It's kind of a similar story with Monkeys, but Monkeys a little bit more extreme, I want to say. Monkeys consistently underperforms for me at majors compared to his stat lines. Powerz, it's more the potential that, you know, he does perform really well at majors. He does, trust me, but he is perhaps the best player in the game, or at least has been said to be for a very long time, on and off. We need him to see. We need to see that during these very tough matches if he is to go out and win a major and topple teams like RushieZ, KCP, and PK.
Well, Toby, there are very few players that can make me meow. Powerz is one of them, and he just made me do it. eUnited heading into Vasgar. They're down 4-1, right, in terms of the overall count. But you know what? It seems like today might be a little bit different. But will it? RushieZ showed great teamwork on District. Will they show it here once again on Vasgar? We do see RushieZ off to a decent start with the 2-1. However, a bit of a mismatch on A, Toby.
Yeah, that's for sure. It seems like eUnited want to go for those mismatches. They want to get in your face. Powerz, look at it. Him straight onto the broken wall, shooting across. There's Dyslexic following him up. They're all on the same page. They're working at the same pace, and that is as fast as they can humanly go. Powerz finds Avexys. Suddenly, eUnited are throwing themselves into A, but you look at the rest of the map, right? RushieZ are kind of reading it just a little bit ahead. 2 players left, yes, but they're still holding the 2 cap nonetheless.
All right. Like you said, holding down the 2 cap, but it's going to be a bit short-lived. 7. That's Demise on the opposite side. Did win a good fight against DeTox. Hold up. TJ also winning his. That's 3 down for RushieZ, Toby. And that makes this 1v1 that much more critical. And he's going against Powerz. I know INZEM isn't worried at all. INZEM has the utmost confidence in the world, but Powerz has been on fire. And I love that cross from a distance. It was either TJ or it was Dyslexic. Whoever, though, it sends INZEM running. Domination starting to tick through, but it's not going to happen just yet. But without question, eUnited, despite them being down, 10 points? I mean, they're coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah, they've been going all in on the triple cap situation here, but sadly, I don't think it's going to pan out. And RushieZ, it's still very close in score, but I think RushieZ will just about keep the lead now as they get the 2 cap. RushieZ do survive and perhaps thrive going forward. B Hill starting to be capped up. Powerz not in a very good position to push that, so yeah. All hopes are on the C Hill being recovered. It looks like Dyslexic is there for that job. RushieZ, got to tip your hat to them despite all the pressure.
Right, Powerz pushing up with his boys. 30-point deficit, easily recoverable from their perspective. RushieZ do find a way to get onto the top hill, but they're kind of playing cat and mouse, which is typical for Vasgar. But it seems like eUnited did back away a little bit off of A, and once again, a bit of a mismatch. You know, constantly looking at the mini-map and seeing a 3v2 on that A hill. You can say the same thing on the B hill too, which RushieZ ultimately will win in the 2v1. So again, they'll stay up objectively. This is really going to come down to who makes a mistake. And right now, both teams aren't really making mistakes. The only benefit for RushieZ is they had that little bit of a lead off of the initial, but that surely can go away pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think right now we have the kind of the dynamic of RushieZ trying to lead the way of a ring around a Rosie, trying to be ahead of the game ring-wise. And eUnited are kind of just trying to stab at them, like through the middle of the map, almost, if you will, to try and just cut them up before they can get round and try and stop them through just sheer force. And it seemed like they were doing it at times. That's why they closed the score. But Rice still just about edging away, right? Just about reading it early enough and getting enough shotgun battle victories that they can just continue to kind of cycle around the map kind of casually and get these 2 caps, which should, with an asterisk, lead to the win here.
We'll see if it does. It should, like you mentioned, and I love that you put that asterisk because with the way Vasgar, I mean, we casted this is the 4th time now during the Spring Major we casted Vasgar. It's never over until it's completely over, but I think RushieZ might have just secured it. Powerz, there's that asterisk, but now it's going to turn into an exclamation point. RushieZ will win it. Well done. They had that minor lead through the entirety of round 1. It was a long one for sure. Objectively, they stayed ahead of the game just a little bit more than that of eUnited and ultimately ended up securing the victory. But that could have went either which way at a certain point.
They could have. Let's see. Weapon placement-wise, anything going to change? No. That's okay. No qualms there, Taylor. I mean, it has to be said, right? I mean, in terms of this map pool, yes, we kind of favor RushieZ, like generally speaking, as a talent team.
Remember your training.
This is the most off-balance map. 4-1 is the record, right, between RushieZ and eUnited on this map, this split. 4-1, when all the other maps are like 2-1, they're within one match, right? And RushieZ have been stellar. They beat bloody KCP on this map this season.
I know.
KCP on Vasgar, insane. It's like a different team almost that has just spawned out of nowhere on this map. So there's no surprise that they seemingly are reacting pretty well to eUnited's pushes. But on paper, before you get into this game, before checkout occurred, I think if you're eUnited, you kind of need to plan around that, maybe with weapon placements.
Well, I mean, eUnited planned accordingly. They picked this map. So I'm curious why that is.
I know.
RushieZ is showing why you shouldn't have picked it against us and doing it in great regard. Good pick up for Powerz onto Demise. He'll go ahead and back away. RushieZ is going to be on all 3 hills. So for Powerz, he's looking to win this 1v1 against player number 4. That's going to be RushieZ. RushieZ, a great 1v player himself. Good shot, follows it up with a second, but Powerz finds some ground, but he'll get shut down in the end, and the domination will continue, and RushieZ will lead 2-0. We went from a 3-minute and 30-second round down to a 1-minute and 5-second round. RushieZ doing a much better job in round 2.
Just as we saw Powerz going off in checkout, RushieZ now is just seemingly handling that beast as he hurdles towards him. It's for the round, right? 2 1Vs in a row for the conclusion of both rounds, and RushieZ just doesn't look phased, you know? Ran at him in the previous round. In that round we just saw, just holding his ground, not missing shots, keeping his distance, really disabling Powerz. Speaking of disabling, though, we will not have anything like that at this point from eUnited. It will be a complete placement right off the rip. Snipe to tank. The traditional change of Vasgar is upon us. Not surprised we're seeing this, Taylor.
Not surprised in the slightest. Sniper, it needed to go down, and well, obviously eUnited knows this, but forcing a team fight is a great thing for them as far as I'm concerned. But DeTox gets out so smoothly, RushieZ on the flank, will pick up one that could have been devastating. But honestly, I mean, let's cut to the chase. It still was a devastating start, right? You get DeTox away with the sniper pretty much unscathed. He's not hitting shots, but you got to respect his presence. And with the confidence of that sniper in his hands, that allows for RushieZ to confidently push up towards the home hill of eUnited. And, I mean, they're doing it in great fashion. In fact, look at how they spread out across the map. They're looking to collapse on all 3 hills.
Ooh, tough shot for DeTox. Love the F. Oh, Powerz is just taking him out. Don't know what's happened there. There's a sniper on the floor somewhere. eUnited Dyslexic is going to get a kill himself, and the whole roster suddenly just bursts into action. 3 members down for RushieZ. Snipe in the hands of Powerz.
Snipe in the hand of Powerz. That's, I mean, we saw what he did on checkout just a little bit earlier. It could hurt. It could hurt quite a bit. Avexys stuck between a rock and a hard place in the form of DeTox and Avexys, or excuse me, in the form of TJ and Demise. Tough spot to be in. This is an opportunity for eUnited to hold on to the lead that they have, and even more so with Powerz having the snipe. Obviously, all eyes on him. Up ahead, he's got INZEM, he's got DeTox, and he also has RushieZ. Who will he connect on? We'll find out shortly.
All eyes on Powerz. RushieZ is stacked up 4 players here, Taylor. Powerz needs a headshot now more than ever.
Body shot's cool. Body shot's good. If Dyslexic just hits a little bit of a shot, he doesn't. Nice heady, though, onto INZEM. Got to watch out to his... Oh! Yo, he doesn't have to watch out. The other players have to watch out. Powerz gets 2 of the 3 from RushieZ who are pushing up. Demise gets to 3rd, and that ends up being a round for eUnited. Excellent job. And that just comes to show you how much really one death, right? DeTox dying, how that can lead to a dominating finish for eUnited if the sniper goes into Powerz' hands.
Yeah, eUnited were outnumbered, right? Powerz needed to go off, and if he did, well, the reward was absolutely there because the rotation for the A-Hill was so early, right? And that's what guaranteed it. The triple cap coming through, high risk, high reward, if you will, by positioning your players in that way. But certainly Powerz with the snipe you can kind of rely on to give you a good chance at winning a whole round from just that one play. Nicely done. And now, strategically, at number 8, just lurking over towards the other side. Meanwhile, it should be a 3v3 on this tank side of the map and a big 1v1 for RushieZ and, of course, Dyslexic to have elsewhere.
The stalemate on the tank to be expected. This 1v1, though, is explosive. And Dyslexic, well, he's going to finish off RushieZ. Dyslexic through yesterday and even in the E-Days has been performing exceptionally well. He's improved quite a bit on this eUnited roster, and he's definitely becoming more confident for sure. DeTox will fall. Glimmer of hope of maybe getting, well, look at this domination attempt. I mean, INZEM now has to force his way in. Player 4, Charlie, will get in there. Player 3 has to get a touch. I don't think he's going to be able to. I mean, he will, but I mean, is this round feasible for RushieZ to stay in it? I guess it might. No, it might not be. Look at that cross snipe from Powerz onto Avexys. Toby, it's still going to be a domination potentially.
That's insane from Powerz. Wow. This is where he had the headshot from. Such a difficult shot. That is nice check as well. That should guarantee it. Just that one check alone. Demise has just run from the spawn, essentially, back to the Sea Hill. Love to see it. That's the aggression right there, personified. My goodness me. And I'm not sure if you spotted it, Taylor. I mean, maybe I'm going insane, but there was like a stun during that before Powerz even had that headshot right in front of a player. I'm wondering if eUnited actually threw a stun across the map there, a flash, to get that stun. I do wonder, but maybe he was tagged in the wall because definitely he didn't throw it. Dyslexic there on the front, but nonetheless, great shots. And it was actually Powerz as well, speak of the devil, in that early 1v1 that was retroing the back of RushieZ as he tried to go up the staircase. And that really just guaranteed the 1v victory there. A very important one of that between the players of RushieZ and Dyslexic with how good they are. 2-2 at half-time, Taylor. I'm really liking what we're seeing from both teams.
I think RushieZ could benefit from slowing down a bit and not pushing eUnited as hard. You don't want to get in these CQC fights with EU. I talked about it. If you put these two teams in a team deathmatch, you take away the teamwork in general, which there is teamwork in team deathmatch. I know that, guys, but I'm just saying if you were to just put them in a team deathmatch, you take away teamwork and everybody plays as just individuals. I really think eUnited would be able to outslay RushieZ. But RushieZ is so good with their teamwork that is where they should be powerful. And I'm not seeing a lot of that, at least off the rip. So I want to see them slow things down and force eUnited to make a move, which therefore ups their chances of making a mistake.
I mean, let's go back to District, right? The narrative of slow versus fast. RushieZ like it slow, and eUnited just need to keep it chaotic, and with a slight placement, definitely helps them there. Powerz lurking in the middle. RushieZ able to slow it down finally. Of course, eUnited having 2 rounds in a row. Essentially now of really good work, really good effort on their end. Cap attempt coming in from RushieZ. Great instant. Not going to find the connection he needs, though. That instant kill off the rip. Does get the cap nonetheless with not much damage put his way. Powerz tries to change things up. Be a bit unpredictable with that flank in the middle, but it's called out and held by Avexys.
Dyslexic sees RushieZ pushing up. He'll get a couple of shots. He knows he's confident to push. He does. That's going to be a great kill on his heart. And that's going to allow eUnited to have the 2-1 for a short. Well, it's going to be the 2-1 because player 7 does win the fight against DeTox. Oh my. Look at him lining it up, and he will from Powerz to TJ. We knew eUnited picked this map for a reason, despite history proving that, RushieZ is a better team here, at least against eUnited. But that sniper clearly, which is a very vanilla changeup. We see it all the time. Ooh. But the sniper is so devastating. I mean, yo!
What's going on? TJ now coming into his own with the sniper. You don't even need Powerz, it seems like, on that weapon to do serious damaging work here in this match. Big push from RushieZ now. TJ holds the line, though. Powerz with a Boltok headshot as well, Taylor.
Beautiful.
Just to the left. He just keeps getting headshots off screen. He's having so much of an impact right now that even the camera can't capture everything. TJ now continuing his way. He's going to jump back. He's not getting gibbed. Well played. Powerz is in support. Everything is working well for eUnited right now.
Bull talk action.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Hold up. Wait a minute. Put that sniper up in it, baby. Who's it going to be next? DeTox? DeTox? No, it won't be. That's fine. But still, you're going to get the Nasher shot from Powerz. Toby, eUnited are dominating Vasgar. Despite the score being 3-2, Snipers placed round 3. eUnited doesn't look back.
No, they're absolutely not looking back. That's for sure. They're just looking forward and even further into the future, seemingly, than anyone else. Right? They just throw themselves forward, and they realize that they can get themselves out of any situation possible. Look at that damage done from Powerz, by the way. 13 kills, 6 deaths, and 8 assists. I mean, that's just the retro. That's the bowl talk, the snipe body checks coming in there. It's everything, right? It's not just the amount of kills that's playing into that. It just goes to show Powerz is like a one-man army right now on a team that is also performing very well. It's just Powerz is having so much of an impact, and that's kind of what we were alluding to earlier, right? Powerz, one of the best players in Gears Esports history. He has that skill, that talent that he's known for. He needs to utilize it, and he seems to be doing that right now on Vasgar.
RushieZ have to respond. I mean, they've lost 3 straight rounds in a row. They're getting absolutely bodied by the sniper. They've got to really take control in some way. And not to mention, Dyslexic has also been working RushieZ in this 1v1. Dyslexic is just doing such a good job. He's feeling confident. I talked about him feeling more confident on eUnited. Might get a cap on E. You know, player 4 surely pushes him off. Meanwhile, the tank fight is going to be popping off. Long thrown INZEM. Avexys will take down Demise, but TJ will also pick up 2. Maybe not the second, because second is going to get picked back up into the fight. Powerz will die. But, I mean, even these team fights, right? I mean, it seems like it can still go to eUnited at times.
Yeah, and it didn't seem like that on District, did it? It was completely opposite. RushieZ just kept taking them comfortably as they do this round. Very good job. A little bit more back to basics, right, for RushieZ. Just strict team fights, no fancy plays, and they do see that one out. 3-3 now. RushieZ very much still in this. Of course, it is. It's actually INZEM that sticks out a little bit more to me on the scoreboard. They're 2-10. And I think that's just kind of the reflection of TJ and Powerz and the effect they're having on the KDs of the opposition. Now, power replacement, yeah, just nothing really changing too much. I think eUnited kind of have this on lock for the most part. You know, kind of this game plan. It's working out well. Back and forth we go. They can't really. It's hard to expect them to do anything better than go back to back for most of this map with RushieZ, given how good they are on it. Right, RushieZ beat them last time 5-3 on this map. We said RushieZ have beaten KCP on this map. 4-1 head-to-head for the split. I think eUnited should be very happy right now and confident that they can actually still win this map, regardless of the numbers coming into this.
Confidence is key. Confidence is key. There's a lot of confidence to go around, obviously, in Gears in general. Look at that shot, perfectly placed. That's going to drop DeTox and INZEM to their knees. eUnited allow them to bleed out, take down Avexys, pick up the sniper again. Benefit for RushieZ is, well, E is going to be one on the opposite side, so RushieZ can stay there for the time being. But, I mean, Toby, when they come off of respawn, a lot of work is going to need to be done.
Oh, that's for sure. Can you even move fast? Powerz has got pole position with the snipe now. You can see literally the majority of Vasgar from this one pitch. Let's see. Aiming across. Looking for the head on at least one. Avexys, INZEM both rolling between covers. Probably with the heart in their mouths. RushieZ going fast though nonetheless. Can he? Okay. I could see this. Powerz can chase in this 1v. He knows where he is, but he has got support. Nice body checks, all that's needed to guarantee, yep, the death. So that's the airfield going the way of eUnited. RushieZ is still moving themselves.
They definitely are. You can see them on the top side. That's a good body. Drops INZEM. Now that's less manpower that RushieZ has to continue to push forward. And you can see the impact already as Avexys and RushieZ will back away. Look at how quickly eUnited are collapsing on the final 2 players. Off of the respawn, DeTox will get to the F-hill. But I mean, eUnited continues to keep that pressure up. Wolfpack together. And you can see how much of a difference that sniper makes, not because Powerz is, you know, making pop-out plays, which he is, but just it gives them that much more confidence to run the map. Now eUnited is up 60 or so points, and, well, RushieZ have once again, off of the respawn, have to try and establish some map dominance.
Most players would be up here for the entire time with the snipe. Powerz has moved around Superman people. Now he's back into a shotgun fight. Tough. He has to try and stay alive if he can. INZEM will find him, though. That's the snipe gone. 1v1. Full right TJ should go all in on this. Right hand. He can certainly take it, but no. INZEM, great job from him. Regaining his health. Looking for this huge 1v here on the D-hill. Full right. Oh, good shot from TJ over the top. Reading him well.
Shot. Wonderful shot. Like you said, reading them well. eUnited on the cusp of being 4-3, on the cusp of leading 2-1 in this series, ladies and gentlemen. And it looks like it is, in fact, going to tick through. RushieZ simply doesn't have the real estate they need on the map. And seriously, it boils down to the sniper. Sniper's placed round number 3, and eUnited doesn't look back. Yeah, they stumbled a bit in round 6, but since then, eUnited's been absolutely on a tear. And I'm trying to think back. I mean, surely in the 5 times that Vasgar was played previously between RushieZ and eUnited, whether it be E-Days or Pro League, I mean, surely the sniper at one point was placed on tank. But today is just hitting a bit differently. And for RushieZ, what do? Are we going to disable the sniper? I mean, honestly, I'm for that. But instead
I mean, that would take
us
to a final round, but okay.
Yeah.
Instead, they're just going to carry on, but disable the insend, which I don't think it's
had that much of an impact, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an interesting one, that's for sure. But Powerz, it comes down to him. And it's interesting just the snipe being there. I mean, he's against Avexys. We talked about how good he is with the snipe already, me and you. So let's see. Look how many numbers are off for RushieZ. They're taking this very seriously, this tank fight.
Powerz pushing up. This will be a big kill on Avexys. He'll get it. The cleanup on RushieZ is in. Oh, a 1v2. Powerz isolates INZEM. This could be scary for RushieZ if Powerz can continue to move and groove. Unfortunately, for eUnited fans, he is going to drop and a momentary lapse of domination ticking through. But it doesn't happen. And eUnited with the 20-point lead, but surely it's not going to last long. Avexys waking up in that fight. He'll take down Dyslexic. DeTox, first time we're going to get to see him try and flex his sniping skills here on Vasgar.
The strat change is clear, Taylor. It really is. They send 4 players to the tank for the first time. Powerz did so much work and had so much presence in the previous round that they're like, you know what? We have to just leave RushieZ. You can't have that 1v spot anymore. I'm sorry. You can't have it. So change it up. They have the snipe. And now they are doing a lot better, it seems like.
Player caught up in mid. That's Demise. And he does at least, live a little bit longer. I thought for sure he was going to end up dropping. Now he can rotate back around. What a shot from DeTox. Wow. Follows it up with the Nasher. Get a couple of chip damage onto TJ. Shots like that give you the momentum. RushieZ misrolls like that give Powerz the momentum and gets him some real estate onto D. The finish, though, won't come through. Maybe just in the nick of time. Player 3 gets there. And the decap will come through, but at least RushieZ is going to be able to make a decent recovery. Great round from DeTox. Great round from RushieZ. But can he get the finish? Will he die in this moment? Oh, they're back into the fight, and he will lose his life. That's unfortunate.
If he could have bounced perhaps for the meat shield. I know that the shot was being held so hard by the teammate, but damn, it's unfortunate for DeTox. Just one more kill would have made a big impact there. RushieZ is going to get dropped. eUnited just crossing them out so hard when RushieZ tried to be passive with them. The eUnited just punished them as soon as RushieZ were like, nope, don't want any of that team fight. eUnited still don't let them escape nonetheless. Very, very nice from eUnited in that respect since, honestly, the start of this map. Where seemingly, eUnited seemingly taking the lead out of nowhere.
It just comes to show you how well they're playing this map. Sniper or not, they have the pressure, they have that presence, the slaying power, and it really, really does boil down to them just hitting shots better. I mean, eUnited's been absolutely on fire. I hope RushieZ isn't slowing down. They played this round so well, but now eUnited seems to be grasping the round by the horns once again. That's 4 down, and this round is going to be over, and therefore this map is going to conclude. eUnited are going to lead 2-1 in the series, Toby. After winning Vasgar 5-1, they bring the overall record between these two great teams 4-2. RushieZ may still have the lead, but I mean, when you talk about the impact of winning this Vasgar map, they win it. eUnited, of course, win it when it matters most, the Spring Major.
I know. Insane stuff. It's a great insight actually into eUnited, isn't it? I mean, this is the United we want to see in the major. I mean, just think back to the previous split. I think most of the talent were actually predicting that eUnited would win the whole thing. right? That's the kind of the pressure on eUnited's shoulders, right? Now things are a little bit more difficult, I guess, because the KCP factor seems even stronger now because you don't have that Bronny questioning or anything. RushieZ have just had their best split ever, statistically in the Pro League. They've come out of nowhere with Vasgar, and RushieZ have a much stronger map pool, as your interview with DeTox, showed in his commentary. But no, for eUnited to just somehow, some way win Vasgar, I mean, shocked all of us as talent, that's for sure. I know that much from what's been said already. It's gone beyond interesting, this series now. It is just literally just seeing how the teams play in the map, I think. So, yeah.
Toby, when it comes to Ritual now, map number 4 could be scary. I mean, because RushieZ, they win District in a pretty convincing fashion, but Ritual is a map that eUnited has been so good on. It's really been eUnited and Pittsburgh Knights. My concern for RushieZ at this point, I mean, really does boil down to one player, and that's Powerz. Powerz has been on fire since checkout. He was absolutely on fire through the entirety of this Vasgar. Caveat, maybe two rounds. I would say 2 rounds. He wasn't as impactful, but with that sniper, he was deadly. You got a torque bow on Ritual. Maybe not going to be that crazy from Powerz' perspective, but Powerz, when he feels himself, he's the best player in the world and one of the best slayers in the world. I mean, he is the best slayer in the world. So him on Ritual can single-handedly at times shut teams down. Now that eUnited is emboldened by a 2-1 lead, winning Vasgar, and doing it in such a way where they really dismantle and shut RushieZ down at every nook and cranny, at really every turn and bend, Powerz on Ritual is going to be a scary sight. And RushieZ has to know this better than anybody. They need to genuinely and really solo him out and shut him down. You don't do that, eUnited walks away with the series 3-1.
I couldn't agree more. Honestly, I have to mention it though. Before we get, I believe it's Ritual, right? It is Ritual. Before we get into that map, has to be said, right? Yes. I mean, I remember now back to mention the previous major once more. eUnited coming into it with the best Ritual team easily. They were just like, all right, why aren't you banning Ritual against eUnited? Right. It's surprising. Well, we come to split 3 now. RushieZ have literally picked Ritual against eUnited. They've picked it.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
Staggering change in of itself, just that alone. But when you put it into action, RushieZ went 4-0 on this map in Pro League, right?
Right.
Stunning stuff.
Right.
And one of those wins was actually against, I believe, eUnited. Yeah, 300-287 on map number 4 also. So, looking at that, the current, way of things with Gears Esports, RushieZ actually have the edge on paper in many ways. But I'm going to favor your point. Definitely. I think the reason why Ritual was such a good map for eUnited, and honestly continues to be to this day, despite that loss against RushieZ before, is that it just plays into their hand. I can't remember. I think Ribs actually asked me this question on the analyst desk before as to why is eUnited so good? What's the reason? I think it just comes down to the layout of the map. Yes, it's very open, just like Vasgar in many ways, but it's kind of the really close quarter covers that are literally built for players like Powerz, TJ, and Demise. I mean, they will literally pinball between covers and bounce at the speed of light to the point where it's like, I can't even shoot him. I can't even see where he's gone. It's just, I just simply cannot keep track of them. And it sets them up for Gibbs. It sets them up to move fast. It gives them the opportunity to push things where on other maps you just simply wouldn't be able to, pull off the impossible. And I think when you think in those terms, yes, what we've seen from Powerz, he is coming to his own. What we've just seen of Vasgar is literally the impossible. Throw that into Ritual and eUnited, honestly, are a very, very scary team, regardless of how good you are on the map too.
Very scary indeed. We talk about stats a lot, and I love that about you, Toby, because I'm a stats guy myself. For the first time, though, I'm looking at this from really not a non-statistical standpoint. I genuinely think eUnited just has the utmost confidence, more confidence now than I think they've ever had. Second place last major, heard them. You mentioned eUnited getting second place despite them being the most hyped up team. I thought they were going to have the major, not in the bag, but I definitely thought they were going to have it before KCP did what they did. And KCP, by the way, is doing it again. They're undefeated in this, not only in pool play, but also undefeated in the brackets. And more importantly, they haven't dropped a single map, which Ribs, called it out and said, I don't see KCP losing a map this entire tournament. And, well, that still stands true. And I'm becoming more and more of a believer. KCP operates the same way eUnited does. When they catch fire, when they get confident, they are so hard to beat. The pressure doesn't mean anything to them anymore. The doubters, the naysayers, they don't care. In fact, it fuels them. Whoever's in front of them, they want to beat them even more. If RushieZ is playing on fire, which they have been, eUnited looks at that, sees that, it makes them even more excited, Toby. It makes them want to beat them even more, because if they're like, if we can beat you at the top of your game, we can beat any other team out there. We're just simply that much better. So heading into Ritual, that confidence has to be at an all-time high. Now, I've hyped up eUnited tremendously, and I think it deserves to be hyped up because they've been playing so well off the past 2 maps. But also, Toby, how many times have we seen RushieZ, when it looks like things are lost, their back is against the wall, they're down in a series, they come back and send it to a map 5 and win it? We've seen it time in and time out at this point, Toby.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of recent times as well, absolutely. I am so with you on that. And I just generally agree. Like, statistically, I usually go that way too. You know, I'm the first one to argue numbers and bring them up. And they do go the favor of RushieZ. And I'm concerned in that sense. But at least we can rely on the fact that RushieZ know how to play this map, just as, you know, as we felt going into Vasgar. But it does. I still am just trying to debate with myself inside my brain right now as you were going through such fantastic points. Is that, I mean, does that even matter when eUnited are playing this well? Does it matter how good you are on a map and have done on a map when you've just literally had Vasgar of all maps and you've proven and eUnited has shown it just means nothing? Just, I mean, there's no snipe at least, right? There's no snipe for them to contend with, so that's definitely a plus for of course RushieZ. Remember Powerz, as you rightly mentioned on checkout. Yeah, he only kind of really came into the fray when he had that snipe. That's kind of when he started showing up, and it was more the TJForce and Demise show on checkout. And that kind of lended itself then into, of course, with the retro and then the Boltok and then the snipe in Vasgar. Maybe that little change of pace will help them. Also, they won the first control really dominantly, might I add, did RushieZ. Perhaps they can rely on that a little bit more now going into Ritual and, again, try and slow down the game. Of course, I think that's the key to victory at this point. The eUnited playing a different game, right? They're playing like Gear 6 or Gear 7, whatever it might be. They're just well ahead of in terms of pace. RushieZ just have to be like, no, slow down. They just have to put the brick wall up and finally just slow them down a little bit in their brains and also the gameplay. So then RushieZ can start to come into their own and dictate the pace a little bit more. Otherwise, eUnited could really, truthfully run away with us and finish out 3-1.
Well, RushieZ can dictate the pace. They did it well on map 1, as you keep alluding to. eUnited at a certain point in map 1 just, I mean, really not even a certain point through the entirety of map 1. They just didn't know what to do because, again, they just could not get through that. I'll bring brick wall back into play. Couldn't get through the brick wall of RushieZ. They were set up so incredibly well. Ritual is a bit harder to do that on because how open it is and how many lanes and line of sights there are. And that's why the torque bow is so important, but also team damage, team fire is really important. So it's a little bit more difficult to do it on Ritual as opposed to District. That's something RushieZ, though, they know. Look, guys, RushieZ has beat eUnited on this map, and eUnited has beat RushieZ on this map. I think they're currently 1-1 in historical data. So this is still a toss-up. But for you RushieZ fans out there, you know, of course, I'm talking to you, Woo, I'm talking to you, BFL. Like, look, this is still very doable from the perspective of RushieZ. But eUnited's momentum has to be shut down, and you have to shut it down right now. There's no other way about it. And isolating Powerz is a massive win condition that RushieZ needs to account for. Maybe even RushieZ could do that because we know RushieZ on this map tends to be a flex player. You know, he's not all the time in the hill. He likes to hide in the shadows. Doing that is what Powerz does. If RushieZ can counteract that and stay 2 steps ahead of him, you shut Powerz down, you have a big advantage. But map number 4, Toby, let's get into it.
Here we go. Perhaps RushieZ as a player will have a nice time here on the team fight rather than the 1Bs he was in before for most of Vasgar. Big fight now to start things off.
Team fight indeed. INZEM full red. He's going to drop. RushieZ gets him back onto his feet, brother. Your job's not done just yet. But eUnited are lighting up the kill feed quite well. Couple of downs coming out from the side of EU, but maybe that was just to get them down, get them back up with the full health. eUnited, a successful first start. Powerz does get your torque bow. Question, would he be the guy who would be providing an impact with the torque bow? He's clearly been on point with the sniper. Let's see if it translates to the torque bow or if it doesn't.
Enemy spotted.
That's it, isn't it? Can he carry on this power weapon form? It's not the snipe, it's not the Boltok, but it certainly can make just as much of an impact. 3 shots remaining. Looking for that stick, not able to connect. RushieZ have closed the gap. Great nade from Avexys. Huge difference maker now, as they're very tough covers to try and battle through here on the center point.
Shot out, not going to connect, not even splash damage. Powerz, though, still on his feet. Will help his teammates, doubles back onto RushieZ full red, but great composure. He will win that engagement. eUnited not giving a single point over towards RushieZ. Man, that is a bit of a concern, but that's only one hill, Toby. Only one hill. We're now about to transition over towards hill number 2. But eUnited are pretty much already there. The only person from RushieZ who's set up maybe to contest it is going to be Avexys.
Yeah, that's the scary point. Honestly, if eUnited can set up, like that's the one thing RushieZ can really have over eUnited, then RushieZ are in trouble in terms of the points game. I really fancy eUnited's ability to break setups at this point in time. And for Powerz to bounce around like he did, RushieZ going to shut him down, as he was several times in Vasgar, admittedly in advantageous positions, but definitely important to know. Perhaps RushieZ can, enjoy that flex role that he really takes on Ritual, as you were alluding to earlier, and come into his own. DeTox, RushieZ, all throwing themselves in the mix. eUnited crumble at the back line, and RushieZ do finally get themselves into this game.
Like you said, getting yourself into the game, 66-20. Great job from RushieZ, and they don't allow eUnited to take the point lead, at least to a scary place, which is absolutely fantastic. But eUnited's back on the attack. They are stingy. They want the last 26 seconds if they could potentially get it. INZEM, though, doing a great job holding this corner. He'll back away, reposition. He might get pincered. Meanwhile, inside the hill, Demise, DeTox, 1v1. We transition back to INZEM, right? We kind of saw that setting up. INZEM is showing love to TJ, poking the bear. That comes to show you RushieZ not phased at all from Vasgar.
That's true. That's true. And I almost feel guilty of not mentioning Avexys when we talk about pinball bouncing at speed. I mean, he's pretty much known for it since Gears 4, right? So here he is, torque bow in hand. Stick to the right, forces Powerz out of cover. He tries to escape, and he does actually... Oh, no, I was about to say, I thought... Held a lot of health on despite all the efforts from RushieZ, but no, he does get cleaned up. Now Avexys using nades this time. Nades himself somehow, but finds Demise nonetheless for the trade. Big fights now, really hard fought from eUnited and RushieZ in the shotgun compartment. Pinball bouncing right there in front of us again. Hard to keep track of him, but he will fall, will dyslexic. TJ now, big fight to start things off on the next hill. He will fall. A bit of a trade. Avexys and RushieZ still leading the way there. They're still keeping the numbers game going. They're still snowballing from that previous hill, Taylor. That's exactly what you need to see from them.
It would be a tricky push for eUnited. You could kind of tell a couple of them wanted to relocate down low, but then they caught wind that DeTox and INZEM were down there, so that wouldn't have been a free rotate. Now they just got to head down straight forward down this short little choke point, and well, that choke point is strangling eUnited. TJ last alive. RushieZ in conjunction with the Avexys will clear out that eUnited push, and for the first time, Toby, we will see RushieZ with the lead.
And again, it's nothing flashy, right? We've just seen flashy plays over and over from eUnited back on Vasgar. Well, now we just have simple shot holds and teamwork from RushieZ, and it's working. They're about to take the score lead. RushieZ coming to his own a little bit, and a bit more of an aggressive position, as said, than previously. Avexys is getting the torque bow and nades. They're controlling the power up and more similar to District, but speaking of District, of course, a much better start for eUnited at the very least in this control dimension. A very strong map for both teams, and RushieZ seem to have really taken advantage of that now. Avexys getting the next torque bow.
Well played from his perspective. The quick reactions to dip down and not go down was pretty impactful. Oh, he sees Powerz. He wanted it. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. In the meantime, you see how far RushieZ is pushing out. They don't want eUnited to get anywhere close to the next hill. So that's very apparent. They are, well, at least, excuse me, they don't want them to turtle up and be, just conjointed inside the hill together. But eUnited, though, are taking the fight out of the hill, and it's not really working. I mean, RushieZ continue to progress forward, and one by one, RushieZ finds a bit of a mismatch, right? A 1v2 or a 1v3. In this case, it's a 1v3 against Demise. Not that it tapers Demise's abilities off. I mean, the man is slaying out until Avexys runs into him. But for eUnited, though, because they extend out of the hill, RushieZ, despite them winning fights, Toby, they're not getting points.
That's it. That's the name of the game, right? eUnited are still, despite the efforts of RushieZ just getting the setups first, which is surprising. You think RushieZ would be the ones to do that, and eUnited attacking and trying to run after them as fast as they can, but no, not so far. Avexys hasn't had great utility so far, the torque bow. It must be added. Nothing like a Powerz with snipe, for example. Now, one shot remaining, one stick could really help. Not going to come through. Really help RushieZ to translate that into a push for the next hill. Nonetheless, We have a 1v2 over by the hill, quickly trying to reinforce his INZEM running across. They're still trying to keep them at bay. Avexys and RushieZ on this side of the map.
Big fight, big stop maybe, but INZEM, he'll die off. eUnited is starting to heat up, and it's now personal between eUnited and INZEM, obviously showing that love a little bit earlier. I know chat found that a bit controversial, but sometimes the team to dance is the team to lose, at least so they say. But for eUnited, nice little lead now, right? Nice little nest egg. 60 points officially, now 165 to 105. And very well in control of this hill, and very well in control of the outskirts of this hill, Toby, which it could be quite devastating. Big elimination for TJ. He manages to do it. He dies there. A fresh torque bow goes to waste.
Yeah, I was concerned that. I thought TJ might have fallen over his controller a little bit, perhaps, as he was taking a little bit too long cleaning up that kill. Nonetheless, he instantly gets value from that torque bow as well, finding Avexys on the stick, and this is the United game. They're running across the map already. There's no needing to huddle around or run around the outskirts slowly. No, they're just running through the center, and that's eUnited for you. It's that pace, that volatility, the aggression, just that fear factor overall that really is something that has to be respected if you're the opposition. And it's just really translated into the 100-point difference we now see. Despite RushieZ's efforts on a lot of these hills, somehow eUnited kept themselves in it thanks to all this speed around the different hills.
You're not avoiding me, are
Wonderful
you?
shot from TJ on Avexys. Nade's going to be out. RushieZ, I can't even get away. Unfortunately, now DeTox, he's going to be pincered. He's going to drop off. And I'm getting the same vibes now from eUnited that I was getting on Vasgar, Toby, where round in, round out, whether it was a sniper or not, they were just running through RushieZ. They were winning every single team fight. The confidence was there. And this is feeling a lot of really the same. It's feeling very similar.
And eUnited's fights as well that they're winning is also right next to hills, relatively speaking. They're translating those team fights into hills. RushieZ have been a little bit slowly around the outskirts, getting kills, but not really translating to much. eUnited, though, they're making the impact instantly. Let's see, though. RushieZ lights up the kill feed red. Finally, a bit of a gap from this eUnited streak that we've seen. Is it too little, too late? Pretty much almost double the score now eUnited have built up over RushieZ in what seems like a relatively quick period of time. 5 seconds left until the torque bow comes up, so Avexys is going to get it again. Can he get the value, though, that TJ had?
But to answer your question you asked open-endedly, no, it's never too late, right? As long as the round is still alive, as long as the map is still in play, it's never too late to mount to comeback. And we talk about the composure from RushieZ. We have witnessed the composure from RushieZ in a series, and that is going to be impactful in a map just as well. This is a big team fight. One, a torque bow in Avexys' hands, a fresh hill going to the way of RushieZ. This is a rare sight, to be honest with you, because eUnited, for the most part, has controlled the initials of every single hill. This could very well be the turning point RushieZ was needing.
I know, yeah, this is it. Big change of pace now. They are set up. They finally got the pace, perhaps to more to their liking, right? Despite eUnited's efforts, Powerz is quickly running across the center of the map. Leave Nathan hang on. There it goes, over the top. DeTox being caught out. No, doesn't seem like. Forced out recover nonetheless. TJ opening things up. Avexys still not finding the sticks he needs. They absolutely need it when eUnited are hurdling towards, but INZEM with a kill. Down to Avexys in the process. Unfortunately, seems like the pace is just getting a little bit too fast for RushieZ to deal with.
Oh, but you're spot on. Avexys on Vasgar, I got to be honest with you, he really didn't play that well. And in that case, too, he needed the sticks with the torque bow. And if anything, he needed the Nasher shots. He simply didn't get it. It doesn't all fall on him, but I mean, in that moment with the torque bow, you have to make some connections. RushieZ desperately need a break. It's only 27 seconds, but I mean, at this point in time, eUnited has such a decent lead, and while that lead might continue to grow, INZEM is going to be just up ahead, but not for long. He's now dead and out. I said earlier, it's not over till it's over. That sentiment still stands, but I gotta say, I'm definitely getting worried for RushieZ.
I am too. They don't seem like their usual selves, it's safe to say. At least not the start RushieZ had with the Ritual, at least. United now are coming back to that Vasgar that we saw. INZEM, 1 kill onto Dyslexic. Meanwhile, Powerz just gets a double just as fast as the deaths came through. They're looking too good right now. eUnited are an absolute fear factor. Powerz is showing off a little bit with the emotes, and Demise is already hunting down RushieZ spawn. That he just says so much, even that alone for me, Taylor. It's just such a big difference in dynamic here on this control compared to the district.
Powerz hitting him with the no-no, and honestly, well-deserved. INZEM showing a bit of love earlier. Can't blame the guy, though, at that point. They looked like they were starting to come back, but from map 1, or excuse me, from map 2 to map 3 to map 4, ladies and gentlemen, eUnited will be our first team in winners finals after they defeat RushieZ 3-1.
Congratulations to them as well. So well deserved. Let's think about it. 11:24. It's a similar kind of time limit that it took District to finish, right? But of course, it went the complete other way with RushieZ dominating in that one. eUnited turning around in the second half and Ritual. But my goodness, I just can't wait for the analysts to break down the maps. I mean, just overall, right? I'm just waiting to hear their thoughts because I'm flabbergasted in a way. I mean, just Vasgar alone is just a great example of that. Checkout was a fantastic performance from eUnited, of course, after losing District in the way they did. You might even argue that eUnited just seemed like a different team on District, and they didn't seem mentally, well prepared for the event. That is the event of RushieZ versus eUnited, their first big test of the major for both teams, right? And so saying that, it was concerning. We go up on a roller coaster then of Checkout, where United were just completely insane in how they were playing. Very well played indeed. Powerz came into his own. Then it went into Vasgar. And then we see that pace take hold in Ritual as well. Scary, scary team United really are. Unfortunate for RushieZ in many ways too.
Dude, it was that confidence, man, and especially after Vasgar. Checkout was one thing. I don't think the confidence was at an all-time high at that point, but it definitely was building. But after that Vasgar win, with Powerz hitting the shots that he was, that was such a big momentum shift for the mentality of eUnited. They went into Ritual, Toby, thinking they can't lose a single fight. I mean, not because they, can't lose it because then they'll lose to RushieZ. No, like they literally can't lose a fight. They won't lose a fight. Like it was that dominant. The mentality was absolutely there. The confidence was peaking. And I don't think RushieZ tapered off in the confidence department, Toby, but I think more so it was just eUnited had so much momentum backing them up. It was absolutely incredible. Toby, we had a great day, of matches. We really did. I know we're going to return tomorrow, but Toby, I always love working with you, brother.
It's been a pleasure. We've had some really good games, and to finish off with RushieZ versus United, it's always fun casting with you, Taylor, and what a fantastic match that was. I can't wait for tomorrow. I mean, I know today is not over yet, but even tomorrow, just knowing the potential there with how these teams are playing to get this first insight of both RushieZ and eUnited, we still got some incredible games left as well. It's all shaping up to be one of the best majors we've ever had.
I agree. Well, Colin and Jacob are going to close out the night with the last two matches. Of course, our analysts are going to break down this series. And Toby, I think they definitely need to because eUnited are on fire and they don't look like they are going to be stopping anytime soon. Analysts, take it away.
Taylor, Toby, T2, thank you, gentlemen. Enjoy your evenings. And again, a great cast, a great match as eUnited punches their ticket to the winners bracket finals. A 3-1 win over RushieZ. And Ribs, I hate to say that you told me so, but you told me so. You called it, brother.
Yeah, United looking so strong, winning that Vasgar that we kind of questioned. Why would you pick it? Well, they didn't want to play Harbor, so they had to play Vasgar. They win it. I thought RushieZ were going to take Vasgar. I thought we were going to go to a map 5. I had United winning in a more dramatic fashion, but United and all the United fans will take that W nonetheless. Ashes, who did you have? Because you weren't on the opening segment, but did you post a prediction, or did you have a prediction going in?
I did not post a prediction, but my prediction would be because today is indeed Saturday. It's not Friday.
So
RushieZ was definitely not going to win this one. eUnited was my prediction, and here we go. eUnited winning with a clean 3-1 victory. And let's take a look at some of these highlights from this match, because I swear every single player on eUnited was playing absolutely on point. What do you think, Ribs?
Yeah, so I want to give Frank credit. I love giving Frank credit, but he said something about go with the Force scene. He had a Star Wars pun, but he said TJ was going to go off. We all knew Powerz was going to go off, but TJ, first round of checkout, you see him get a 4-piece here. So I asked him in the back, I was like, Fran, why did you say TJ? And he's like, well, one, he hasn't gone off in a while, but two, RushieZ is the type of team that gives the opponents opportunities to make plays, and TJ is the type of player that will capitalize on that. He didn't say it with those exact words, but basically he was saying TJ will go off, RushieZ gives him the opportunity. Sure enough, he does. I said he's just a strong checkout player. Sure enough, this checkout was a trouncing. RushieZ is a much better checkout team than what they showed here. And then eUnited got all the momentum after this, winning 3 maps in a row, starting with this.
Well, I think we got to see, clutch plays from everybody. We saw that 4-piece from TJ. We saw a 3.5 piece there from Demise. And even Vic Powerz had that amazing play near one of the final 2 rounds. I mean, everybody had their chance to tee off. Now, we do get to see Vic again with the sniper.
This is awesome.
Doing whatever he wants, back-to-back headshots. I don't know how he does it, but you kind of got to expect that at this point. This is consistent Powerz play. Oh my God, everybody's so good with the sniper on eUnited.
Surely TJ doesn't hit that shot unless it's champ bracket. I love when TJ turns up when it matters most. And I don't even know why I asked you, Ashes. I knew you were going to say you would have had a United, but what do you think it is about RushieZ that they just can't translate Friday into Saturday?
I've been thinking about this for a while, and I really can't come to a solid reason why, because you have the right players, you have the right talent, you have the history together, you have the teamwork, you have the knowledge of gears. I don't know what's not translating over into Saturday. I don't think it would be pressure at this point. They're too seasoned of players to really feel pressure like this, but I mean, they just looked uncomfortable together, which seems to be a common trend whenever it's Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, and John, I'm going to ask you the same question, but I have a take on it. But go ahead. What do you think it is about RushieZ going from Friday, one day to the next? Sometimes it's not even Friday to Saturday, because they've done well on Saturdays also sometimes. It's just one day to the next, Saturday to Sunday or Friday to Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm interested to hear your take, but I'm going to give a little bit of a candid take, if you will. And look, I'll be honest, I was kind of roasting RushieZ, throughout the last 24 hours of the broadcast, but for some reason, I really thought this RushieZ roster, this tournament would be different. And I'll be honest, I don't know why I thought that. I think the reality is, as much as they're great people, they're great players, they're seasoned, you're definitely right. Some people just don't have that it factor, don't have that clutch gene. I'll be the first to say it. Like, in my playing career, the amount of second place finishes I got or third place finishes I got is insane. For whatever reason, when I was a player, I think it wasn't until later on in my life that I kind of learned how to have that confidence and how to have that clutch factor. I just didn't have it. So, you look at Avexys, you look at DeTox, never won championships. RushieZ obviously got one with you, Ribs, but that was a fluke of an event. No, I'm just
man. You're gonna take that from him?
I don't know what you gain. I don't know. And then you're gonna say, "Oh, just kidding, just kidding."
Clearly,
no, you're not.
It was a fluke because you didn't play Optic in the finals. You didn't beat Optic. If you beat Optic, you would have earned it. But you didn't beat Optic.
Capitalized though. We beat.
You capitalized. You won. I was kidding. It clearly was not a fluke.
But Rush won other events other than that one too. So Rush has proven to be a champion.
I think Rush has proven he kind of has that it factor. Sure. But back to the
other three that still need to prove it.
Still need to kind of prove it. Still need to kind of climb that hump. And I'm not saying you're not born with a clutch gene by any means. Because I used to think that about myself. I used to get in my own head. And like I said, it was later in my life that I kind of just realized, oh my gosh, who cares? Like, flip on that confidence and go. And I think INZEM, Avexys, DeTox are still kind of identifying where that clutch gene is. And look, the tournament's not over yet. They're going to go to losers bracket. I hope they're watching right now. I hope they're pissed off hearing us continue to talk about RushieZ this, RushieZ that. RushieZ can't clutch on Saturday, Sundays, because we got a whole championship Sunday to play still, Ribs.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a mentality thing, and I know Ashes knows this. You have to be mentally prepared to be in these clutch situations. And I think Fran talked about having a short-term memory. You have to have a short-term memory even when you win also. So if you have a great Friday, you kind of have to just close the book, close that chapter, and say tomorrow's a brand new day, even if it went well. If it went bad, you definitely have to do that. But if it went well, you have to go into the next day knowing you're going to be going against tougher opponents. And like you said, RushieZ isn't out of it. So all those RushieZ fans, and of course, if they're listening, they're definitely pissed off. But you got to fuel that into the next matchup. Like I said, eUnited, RushieZ, they're now 3-3 in this split. I said they might run into each other again.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Maybe potentially it would have to be losers bracket, and I hope that does happen. But of course, congratulations to eUnited. Dyslexic kind of holding Latin America on his back right now.
That's right. It has to be losers bracket, or it could be championship finals if RushieZ is able to grind through. But that means that both of them got to get through the Kansas City Pioneers. And let's be honest, that's going to be difficult to do. So, it's a long road. They created a long road for themselves. At the same time, we're kind of roasting and going hard on RushieZ a little bit. I got to say, and this isn't just a cop-out or me feeling bad, genuinely, eUnited played out of their minds. I mean, all four of them, Dyslexic. TJ stepped up like crazy. Powerz was just doing Powerz things, but played brilliantly. I mean, look at the plays that Powerz made on that last control to, RushieZ finally gets a setup of Avexys' torque, and Powerz comes in and gets a double kill and breaks that like that. So I think United played really, really well. I don't know and I think RushieZ just didn't play great, which sometimes happens. But again, better than it happens on Saturday than Sunday, right, Ashes?
Yeah, I mean, get the loss out of. I mean, I would have rather seen them get the loss out of their system yesterday. But if you got to do it, get out of your system on Saturday, where you still have a chance to make it through to Sunday. And I agree with you. I think United really was just playing really well. I will always be a fan of TJ. I will always be a fan of Vic, having gotten to work with them very briefly. I think those two players Vic definitely gets a lot of attention and love, but TJ doesn't get the attention and love that he really deserves. He is a phenomenal mind in Gears that just really hasn't had that chance to showcase it because he hasn't gotten the chance to hold a trophy. But I'm hoping to see that for him because, my lord, he deserves it. And playing like that, it's on the horizon.
Agreed. There's a reason TJ got picked up to fill the shoes of Mental. And obviously didn't fill those shoes, to the extent that I think the team would have liked him to. And unfortunately that, Explosive and Co weren't able to ride off into the sunset with the championship win. But nonetheless, TJ was the best player, the best option, and truly is that guy. And that's not even a question. So with that said, a lot of great discussion, gentlemen. It's always fun, talking with y'all, giving your pedigree and, the history that kind of the three of us have in the scene. But with that said, it was a fun match to watch. I mean, we talked about the plays Powerz made and others. We've seen plays on plays on plays throughout the day, and with that, it's actually time for our eSwap Pro X controller play of the day. Let's take a look and see what it is here. Ribs, walk me through it.
Well, I'm surprised we're getting play of the day this early, but I mean, it has to be when you see this play. First, the headshot onto DeTox. He cuts back here. We all thought this was a headshot. It wasn't. Most players would have went for that kill. He said, no, let me help my team. He turns, gets the headshot onto Avexys, the up A wrap shot onto INZEM, and then RushieZ just signed the contract here. He rolls right into him, gets the shotgun kill. I still think some of the players on KCP and the Knights are going to have a play, if not as good as this, maybe better. But I don't blame production for saying this is play of the day. Ashes, are you used to seeing Powerz do this? Are you getting used to it, or you've been used to it?
There will never be a point in my life where I am used to seeing Powerz do this kind of stuff. Yet you expect it. I don't know. It's like when you get on a roller coaster and it launches and you put your stomach into your back and you have no idea and your heart's in your feet and you knew that was coming, but you're still caught off guard by it. That's watching Vic play every single time. It's amazing to watch. Powerz and Monster. I want to see more Sniper in more Powerz hands.
Absolutely insane. And, God, again, those plays, I'm at a loss for words. It really embodies what Gears is. And there's no other esport where you can pop off like that in a consistent basis where every single match you see montage reel, highlight reel-esque plays, and that's the case in Gears, and Powerz actually showing why right there. Insanely difficult stuff. Sniper in Gears way harder to use than Sniper in a lot of other games, and obviously Gears 5, I'm glad to see it return to its prowess as a power weapon, and Powerz making it work. So awesome stuff right there, that's for sure. Let's take a quick peek at the winners bracket and losers bracket, just for an update for y'all. Everyone watching at home, United handles business. Next up, we'll have the Pioneers versus the Knights. That's going to be a great one. Flipping on over to the losers bracket, where we do have a couple teams that are starting to climb their way through and grinding their way through. Abuelos 3-0 over Fury 1. Talk about a statement win. Defiant, same thing over Hive. So that means we got Defiance versus Abuelos. That's going to be a great matchup. I'm excited for that. And then we'll have Team Queso versus Rebel in the other side of the losers bracket. And with that said, we're going to take a very quick break. We got 2 matches left on the main stream here, and let me tell you, buckle up. Next match is going to be our others winners bracket semifinal. The Pittsburgh Knights are about to be live against none other than the back-to-back-to-back champions, the Kansas City Pioneers. It's going to be fun to watch. We'll wrap up with the losers bracket matchup after that. So don't go anywhere. Get your popcorn, get ready, buckle up. It's going to be a hell of a semifinal in just a moment.